Hello and welcome to the Craft Witch Corner, where I yap and craft. My name is Dex, and my pronouns are he, they. Today's video is a witchy day in the life. The first thing I did this morning was fix my printer because it's been on the fritz, but then I washed this shell that I will be using to make a special altar in a future video. Something I do every morning is say good morning to the spirit of my home and give her a little kiss. I also like to open the blinds first thing to bring in that light and energy. I say good morning to my ancestors, I ring their bell, and say a prayer that I wrote for them. This morning I wasn't really feeling a full-on breakfast, so I just had some decaf coffee mixed with a protein shake, a protein bar, and a cup of berries. I don't necessarily do kitchen magic very often or anything overtly magical with my food, but I do personally feel that the act of nourishing yourself and making better choices and caring about your health is magical in and of itself. When I have a smaller breakfast like this, I will have it at my altar. I try to make journaling and self-analysis a daily part of my practice. Sometimes I miss out, but I do try very hard to stay consistent with checking it. I have recently started doing a one charm pull in order to get used to the energy of my charm kit and just the vibes of casting charms in general. I didn't do a full-on meditation, but I did just take a moment to calm my breath, calm my mind, and get into a better place to divine. When I do any form of divination, I like to send my energy into the tool and say the question directly to the spirit of the tool, and also breathe life into it. I was absolutely flabbergasted because it was the same charm as the day before. Looking back, it makes sense because the questions were basically the same, so this was pretty much just a confirmation. I work in my bullet journal every single day. I check off habits that I'm working on and say my personal manifesto that I have glued into the back cover. I like to write down one thing that I am grateful for every single day. It has positively impacted my life so much. I keep my daily page on my notes app on my phone. I just find it much easier. The next morning, I will delete the things that were not really relevant, like just me writing down that I took my meds so that I don't forget. And anything that is important, I will write down in the various places it should go. I have a list for witchy to do, for projects I want to work on, and sometimes, like today, I have something that I need to write down in one of my grimoires. I spend time on my rune journey every single day. At this point, I had not yet written my prayer for the rune I was on Zeus. So I spent some time looking over the attunement I did with On Zeus and the week I spent with On Zeus in my 6-month rune journey, and started working on the prayer. This is not something that I do every day, but whenever I have something I want to add into my grimoire, I do like to do that at my altar. This is a printout from Molly Roberts. She had made a video on different beauty spells and printed this out. Here I'm just taking my meds, so big reminder, if you haven't taken your meds yet, take your meds. But I am just cutting this out and gluing it into my grimoire, along with some other things, which we will see later on. Tank top, short side pockets, muscle tee, bandana. After putting my fit together, I packed my bag for today's adventure, making sure to bring water for myself and an offering of water for the spirits I will be encountering. I like to pick a necklace when I leave the house every day, and for this day I chose the fox necklace, which is one of my favorites. I also use protection oil pretty much every time I leave the house. I have written a protection incantation that I say every time I use the oil. I like to awaken that oil by rubbing my hands, and then say that incantation, breathe life into it, and also draw protective runes and symbols before anointing my wrists, my throat, the back of my neck in the shape of an eye, my hair, or in this case my veil, and my feet. I also put some protective oil on the camera as I am bringing the camera out with me today. And always love a little bit of perfume. This is the fit for our adventure to the cemetery. I normally have a really hard time meditating in public because it makes me very anxious, but it's something I've been working on, so that is what I'm doing here, just trying my best to meditate. This is the current grimoire that I am working on, and this is what the pages look like that I worked on earlier in the morning. These are the 4 sigils for the 4 cardinal spirits. This is my page for the snake. For the rabbit or hare. For the frog or toad. And lastly, for the crow. I spent quite a while trying to work on my own sigil for the snake cardinal spirit. I was having a lot of trouble with it. Finally, I decided it was too cold. This is a red-winged blackbird, and I see them every time I come to the cemetery. I love him, and he is gorgeous. When I got home, I decided it was finally time to process these plants that I had been drawing for quite a while. I don't normally clean up right after I make a huge mess on my altar, but for once I had the energy and motivation to do that, so I just vacuumed up all the little bits that I had spilled. I spend time reading every single day, and right now I'm reading through the Eddas and Sagas. This one in particular is the Heimskringla, or however you pronounce that. Then I watched Molly Roberts' video on the beauty spells that was attached to the printout, and that video will be linked in the description below. I spent some more time trying to work on the sigil for the Snake Cardinal Spirit. I have still not finished it. I like to use focus oil a lot of the time when I edit. I say an incantation into it, draw some symbols that relate to focus, and anoint my temples, and a big focus on my head and hair. The final thing I had to do for the night was put away some laundry, but I was really not feeling it, so whenever that happens, I ask my ancestors for help. This time I gave them a bit of an offering of my own energy, and I asked for their help and lit their candle, and it definitely helped. Personally, I like to sort my laundry before folding it. Just makes the process much easier. In a final note, the last thing that I do before I go to bed every night is say goodnight to the spirit of my home. And again, give her a little kiss. I just wanted to show off this quartz. I found it all at the cemetery, and I gave a little bit of an offering to the spirits, to the rocks, and I took these pieces home. So yeah, not sure what I'm gonna do with them, but I really love quartz. It's probably my absolute favorite, especially in her beautiful natural state like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these on my altar, and I will probably soon figure out what to do with them. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you would like to see or hear more from me in the future. In the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay crafty and stay kind.